They're saying that airborne things are dangerous nowadays. The particles of smell all are airborne, caught with your hand in the cookie jar. And the worst thing is to continue doing the same thing if it's not doing anything. 28.5 minutes, that's how long it just took for me. We used to play a game called 300 Dead or Alive, and I guess it was made fun because the person would throw the ball as hard as they could. Upon doing so, there were people who were receiving the ball. It's kind of like in a wedding where the bride throws the bouquet. She's basically playing 300 Dead or Alive. It's just she makes it a little bit more interesting by turning backwards. Wow, Nat Hive. She turns backwards and throws it over her head. Substantially, she could throw it as hard as she could. And then that would be the same exact game. It's like with Hansel and Gretel, what they did was they let breadcrumbs through the forest. And unfortunately, those breadcrumbs went scattered. In order for them to be more stable, like a bookmark is stable because the pages, look at all these freaking gnats. I am baffled at how egregious. And that they were stable within like an area where they could bounce around but then just stay inside of an area. If each of the breadcrumbs were like Thor's hammer, where only Thor can pick it up, or like Excalibur, the sword that no one could get out of the stone except for King Arthur. I think that those things are only achieved through excitement. They're moving really fast, but then they're inside a solid structure so that they can't move. I think that is how that dynamic would work. And if it was for each of the breadcrumbs as a function of all the breadcrumbs together, like a stair step, the right motion. You need to have a gauge to see if you're hot or you're cold. And in order to know if you're hot or you're cold, there needs to be a gauge to signify the pressure and the angle. Then you need to know when to be aggressive. Be aggressive. You need to be gentle when you're finding the right angle, but then aggressive once you're in the strike zone. Hi, have you ever looked up in the sky and seen stars? Have you ever noticed that planets, when they're in the sky, such as Saturn, glow like a star? I wonder how many things on the rings of Saturn you could do that would translate to action on Earth. You would probably think, well, you can't do anything if you're not there. But if you were there and you could do anything, what thing would you choose to see if it made a difference on Earth? Have to be something like a cannon. I'd put like a swing set, a teeter-totter. It would put a fireman pole. That was actually not original idea. Michio Kaku said he wanted to put elevators going from Earth into outer space, and it would be on a pole. And you can get not a bird's eye view, but a astronaut's eye view. The problem isn't the problem. The problem is the solution is the problem. When you're listening to the guidelines, and if the guidelines are set up for a catastrophe to be enhanced in order to clear up a problem that they made in order to take a solution from the problem, it is all boiled down to the following, where you have your rights taken and you believe that they're a privilege. Separately, when your hair gets frizzy, it is usually because it is exposed to a lot of wind whipping. What you can do is get an alligator clip and then you shove it in the where it is poofiest. And you want to shove it in going vertically up into the crown of your head. And that's in this direction, that direction, wherever you put it around, make it so that the alligator clip is going back. Because when you pull your hair back, that's what the cool guys do in the movie Grease. They get the comb and they pull their hair back. So you do that, and then you take the hair in top, and so you hide the alligator clip so you don't look like an amateur when you're having a thing exposing out, and people say like, wow, now your hair is like well kept. And then you can say, well, it's because I'm wearing an alligator clip. Separately, it's the opposite of wearing a mask. The founding fathers did not envision fighting for freedom, to have our basic human freedoms, and then to see everyone wearing masks, they would be, wow, deeply depressed. So they wanted us to be like healthy and prosperous, and if you start mistaking that for wearing a mask, then you're an amateur to life.